We are back like baseball with episode 7 of the DraftKings Life Podcast. I'm Jason Jones, Senior Recruitment Marketing Specialist, and I'm joined by Meg Powers, Talent Acquisition Specialist. What is up, Meg P?
Just hanging. I need to get to Fenway to see a game soon. I saw somewhere that tickets were reasonably priced and you can do it in like a pod of people. Did you see that?
No, but by reasonably priced for Fenway, is it $1,000?
No, actually it's not. I actually heard from another DraftKings employee, shout out Dagny, that she and some of her friends got some tickets for I think it was like $45.
Wow, that's impressive.
I know. How are you?
I'm great, Meg. It is springtime out, so you know that just hitting the driving range, hitting the golf course, and then hopefully after I get the vax, maybe play a little organized soccer. It's been a couple of years, so I'm excited for summer 2021. What's going on in your world?
Our listeners are going to think that all you do is golf. Is that accurate?
I also on Instagram a lot. I'm very predictable.
Yes. Okay, good. Yeah, I saw near me, they are putting together all of the outdoor dining construction in Boston. So it's gearing up to be hopefully a good spring and summer for sure. But I'm excited to talk about who we have on this week.
So before we dive into a great interview with Brandon Miller, Director of Customer Experience at DraftKings, we're going to talk through some hot jobs in DraftKings Now.
Hot jobs.
DraftKings is seeking a strategic and conceptual associate art director with clear marketing strengths and a love of sports. The associate art director will play an integral role in the creation of brand marketing and performance marketing campaigns. 4-year degree and a relevant portfolio, along with the ability to juggle multiple projects/stakeholders with quick deadlines, is strongly preferred.
We are searching for a senior analyst to partner closely with the customer experience team and drive strategy behind how we limit a customer's need for support interactions, while also making them as simple as possible when those interactions happen. You'll work with a team of analysts and operators to create tests and measure the impacts of various tactics, develop insights about support interactions through which customers interact with our brand. Sound good to you? Join us and apply online.
DraftKings Now pregame report.
The DraftKings Now pregame report is back to give you exciting company updates and keep you in the know with all things DraftKings.
DraftKings announced that it has acquired Blue Ribbon Software Limited, a Tel Aviv-based leading global jackpot and gamification company that provides platform-agnostic, real-time gamification tools that allow for fully customizable jackpot promotions. DraftKings will now be able to enhance the customer experience by integrating Blue Ribbon's unique jackpot functionality, including personalized promotions and rewards tailored to the individual customer, or jackpots that pay out across DraftKings' various product offerings. Awesome news.
Yeah, really cool. I have some exciting news as well, too. DraftKings also announced that it has acquired Vegas Sports Information Network, a multi-platform broadcast and content company delivering trusted sports betting news, analysis, and data to U.S. sports bettors since 2017. The acquisition will enable DraftKings, which is live with mobile and/or retail sports betting in 14 states, to further build out its content capabilities and will augment VSiN's ability to broaden their audience alongside the expansion of legal sports betting in the U.S. Thank you so much for joining us today, Brandon. Why don't you introduce yourself, tell everyone your name, title, and what you do at DraftKings.
Yeah, super excited to be chatting with you guys. I've heard nothing but great things about this podcast. Tough act to follow in Jen, but super excited to be here. As you said, my name is Brandon Miller, Director of Customer Experience here at DraftKings, where I oversee the day-to-day operations of our customer service, customer experience team, however you want to refer to it as.
Awesome. We are excited to have you. I know we tried to get you on last year. Jason jumped in too, but we are glad you're finally able to hang out with us and chat more. So how are you doing? How's working from home with the CX life? Have you been back to the office at all? Like, how's 2021 for you?
I went back to the office to pick up my snow boots. That's how long. It was an entire year, so I had to go back in there because I didn't want to buy a new pair.
Very
But
important
now
knowing
working, yeah, that's exactly right. Working from home is fine for me. I don't particularly dislike it. Sure, I live in a very small apartment, but that's fine. We've been able to adapt really well. So I've gotten totally accustomed to it. Sure, I'm looking forward to going back and having some human interaction and not Zoom interaction, but working from home, definitely accustomed to it at this point.
Good. Well, I am glad. What is a day in the life like for you at DraftKings? Like, what do you do? I know you're super busy all the time, so would love to hear a little bit more about it.
Yeah, so it really depends day to day, hour to hour. We have spent a lot of time over the last, we are spending time now preparing for what's next. I think that our business as a whole has experienced hyper growth, not just from the sheer number of people, breaking 1,000, and I don't even know how many we have now. But from a customer standpoint too. I mean, millions of customers now. So we are rapidly trying to scale our CX operation with that. So it's a lot of time, headcount planning. How are we going to get people on board? How are we going to get them on board efficiently? How do we get them immersed in our culture? How do we get them talking and interacting with our customers that they want to do that in a manner in which we want them to and they feel comfortable with. So we have spent a lot of time post Super Bowl. We really have like two phases of life. In our world, it's NFL season, and right now we are in non-NFL season. So we're already preparing for next NFL and what that looks like. We joke that we're like very similar to an NFL team, where this is our off season. We're preparing, getting ready for week one, even though it's the first week of April.
So when are OTAs? Summertime?
OTAs were last week.
What's OTA?
I don't even know, what does it stand for? Off season
training assemble. I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds good. So we have frequent OTAs.
Like
when you
go ahead,
sorry, I was going to say, like, when I know we're about to get into this in a second, but when you started, how many employees do you think were at DraftKings?
I'd say there was about 50 or so, between 50 and 75. CX team was about 5. I remember there was 3 of us hired at the same time in CX, and that was like a huge deal at the time because I think that essentially doubled the size of their team.
So speaking of NFL, it stands for Organized Team Activities. So any NFL fans listening, please don't get mad at us. We just fixed it. Organized Team Activities. So Brandon, transitioning back to the pod, what was DraftKings like when you started in 2014? And how have you seen the company transition in the last 6 to 7 years? And what was your role like when you even started back in 2014?
Yeah, it's funny because I think the saying, what is it? The more things change, the more they stay the same, definitely rings true. When I started, 50 people. Now we're into the thousands, right? I think that you guys can probably. I feel like once we broke 1,000, that was like the last milestone that you really celebrate. Like 1,000 now. Hey, we could have 2,500.
I think we're pretty close to 3,000 now. So
now we have 3,000. So going from 50 to 3,000 at face value is a lot, right? That is a ton of change. But I will say when I started in July of 2014 to now, we still have a very similar culture. We still work at a fast pace, if not a faster pace than a scrappy startup. When I speak about DraftKings and I talk about how we operate, despite being 8-9 years old, despite having 3,000 people, we still move at the pace of a scrappy startup, and that's what I really enjoyed back then, and I still continue to enjoy now. And the people have grown with that as well. Instead of having a really tight knit group of 50 people that were all bought into the culture, that stayed the same as well as we approach 3,000. So it's different, right? Like instead of having one small floor in Boston, now we have offices all over the world. thousands of people. But I think the culture and kind of how we do things has stayed consistent throughout. And then to answer your question, your second question, started as a customer experience associate, and was really just fortunate enough to get in at the right time before this hyper growth. So the CX team went from, call it 8 at that time, to now we're approaching 500. So if you talk about growth, there it is right there. Plenty of opportunity that I've been very fortunate to be a part of.
And congrats to you on moving up the ranks during those times and during those constant iterations of the company. So congrats.
Appreciate that.
Can you break down what the CX team does and why it's so important to DraftKings?
Yeah, there's probably 2 different answers to that, right? We're a traditional customer service team. Customers come to us with whatever they want, whatever questions that they have, and we try to service them, and we try to get them back up and running, answer their question, whatever it might be, as quickly as possible. And while it might sound corny, we try to do so much more than that. We have a unique position where our team has the opportunity to connect with our customers in a way that a lot of other groups just don't have the ability to do. We can communicate with them one-to-one. So we really try to engage with them, create connections, create that bond and trust to get them to continue to play on DraftKings moving forward. We're very aware that it's a very competitive landscape, the kind of the industry that we operate in. So we really want to make our CX and our service a reason to play at DraftKings. So creating that connection allows us to do that.
Can you describe how the team transitioned from supporting at that time, up until a few years ago, was just daily fantasy sports customers, to now supporting customers across sportsbook, iGaming, and casino?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge, and a challenge really that we faced, history repeats itself, right? A challenge that we faced early on in the DFS space is trying to educate our customers on what DFS is, what daily fantasy sports are, how it works, all of these different things. We realized that very, very quickly, just because of the maturation of the sports betting market and even the iGaming market, it's brand new to everyone. It's brand new to DraftKings, it's brand new to the US, brand new to all of our staff, everyone, it's brand new. So that was definitely a learning curve. A lot of these areas that customers are learning about how to place different bets, different promotions, all of these different things, we were learning it ourselves on the fly. So that was an interesting experience to say. And it's, the offerings on sportsbook and casino are just so vast compared to DFS. I always like to say that now we have the ability as a business to cater to customers who want to play $1 DFS contest because they like fantasy sports every single day. They can do that. If they want to play the eighth version of Cat's Casino slots, they can do that as well. I think that's really cool. But as a CX group, we have to have that breadth of knowledge as well, which is difficult. And that's what's kept it fresh and kept it interesting, because there's always something new going on.
Will there be like a Candy Crush version that we can play?
That would be super popular, wouldn't it? That's I don't even want to imagine what that would look like.
All right, Brandon, what kind of training does the CX team receive? And do different teams in the organization listen on CX calls to better understand customer pain points to better improve our products? Yeah, so training from the onset is first about a week and a half. It's classroom based. So we're going over policy, procedure. We're speaking about how we want to go back to engaging our customers. How do we create those connections? So what's obviously first and foremost is adhering to those policies and procedures, but then we want to have some fun with how we interact with our customers as well. So if you see a customer with a username that's like Seinfeld fan 123, like, cool,
you must be a Seinfeld fan. Like, let's talk about that. You know, if I'm able to answer your question quickly and I know that you're resolved, maybe I'll make some comment about Seinfeld. So just like things like that. And then as far as understanding customer pain points, not just in kind of distributing that out amongst the rest of the business, CX has this wing arm department, however you want to refer to it as, that is responsible for organizing customer pain points, whether it be through CX, whether it be through NPS, different focus groups, and understanding what do our customers like, what do they don't like, what are our pain points, and communicating that out to the rest of the business to drive impactful change. That coupled with, we have some shadowing that other parts of the business might do to understand. If you work in promotions and you want to understand about what questions customers have about promotions, we can absolutely do that. So we really think about creating kind of that closed loop feedback where customer, we in an ideal world, we're proactively solving these problems as much as we can. So being able to inform the rest of the business of that is super important to us.
Mm-hmm. Great. May is Internal Mobility Month at DraftKings. I know it's been a really big part of your experience here and your teams as well. I've helped so many people transition across DraftKings into new roles. So do you want to just talk a little bit about what that was like for you and what you've seen in the last few years for members of the CX team?
Yeah, you nailed it. Internal mobility is very important to the customer experience team. I look around DraftKings as a whole, in whether it be fraud operations, whether it be delivery, marketing, program management, software engineering, you name it. I bet I can point to someone and say, hey, they started in CX. And I think that's really cool for a couple different reasons. One, it's that internal mobility. Like, we take pride in developing people's careers. That is super important to us. And then selfishly, it's always great to have somebody on the other side that you can connect with and that understands what CX is going through, what the customer is going through. And you know that in their scrums and their daily stand-ups or whenever they're talking about a new project, they're able to bring that mindset to the table. That's really important. But the most important thing for me is we really take pride in developing careers. If you want to stay in CX, the same thing. We have had, I think I'm a living example. We have several that have started as CX associates that are managers, senior managers. At the end of the day, if you realize that you want to try something else, cool, we can develop your skill set that is translatable to do several other things. I think what happens a lot of the times is people come through the door, they love DraftKings, and they're just looking for opportunities to develop their careers here. And we're able to give them an opportunity to get a feel for what DraftKings is like and develop skill sets that they can take on with them the rest of their careers here at DK.
With baseball just starting, it's almost like you're describing like our own farm system, where you come in, it'll train you up, you can stay in CX like yourself, or if you're passionate outside of CX, marketing, other areas of the business. That's really cool.
Absolutely. We have a very strong farm system. I will say that.
I love that. And we worked together on hiring. That's a customer experience team was really my first introduction into talent acquisition. And it was a crash course in recruiting for sure. We got through it and still help out sometimes. So when we're interviewing all of these candidates, what advice do you have for them, for someone who's looking to join DraftKings and the CX team?
First, I think crash course is putting it too politely. There's probably some other words that you would refer to it as, but
no,
off the air. No, what we're really looking for are people that we can tell are authentic and true to themselves. To be honest, when I interview anyone, whether it be someone interviewing for a manager, whether it be an associate, even different part of the business, if you come in here with this long sales pitch and you're trying to sell and it's fake, I think everyone can see right through that. We want people that we know are going to be true to themselves and they're going to come in here and work really hard. I'd rather have somebody that's new, a little bit timid, but has like a lot of examples of how they've just like worked really hard for their team, learned quickly, versus somebody that's very well polished, has this great sales pitch and opportunities for development, all these different things. Come in here and be true to yourself, and you'll be really successful at the end of the day.
For sure. Awesome. Well, thank you for running through all these questions with us. We have made it to the lightning round.
Lightning round.
Gonna have Jonesy start the timer shortly, and we can. Where are you from?
Orleans, Massachusetts.
What do you miss most about the 125 High Street office?
The friendly banter.
What is your biggest strength?
My work ethic.
Do you have a favorite holiday?
I would say 4th of July.
Summer getaway spot?
The beach.
Any product or service you can't live without?
I would say my phone, even though I don't love it.
What was the first job you ever had?
I was a caddy.
What's favorite sports team?
Red Sox.
What's one item on your bucket list?
Go to Italy.
Lake, beach, or pool?
Beach.
Do you have a hidden talent?
Nope.
Favorite food?
Pizza.
Favorite mobile app?
DraftKings app.
Favorite streaming service?
Spotify.
Favorite quarantine hobby?
Reading.
Best part of working from home?
Spending time with the dog.
Favorite way to relax?
Sit in the sun.
So we already know this, but cats or dogs?
Dogs.
What motivates you to succeed?
Being part of a team.
All-time favorite musician or album?
Darius Rucker.
Favorite time of day?
Ooh. 6 p.m.
Last question with 17 seconds left. Stranded on a desert island. You can only bring one item. What is that item, Brandon?
Can I go back to the dog? Is that an item?
That counts.
Boom. With time to spare. Well done.
That was good. I had a feeling Brandon would be good at this.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Great.
And Brandon, we'll close out today's podcast by asking you, what is a motto or mantra that you live by every day?
Motto. Today is a great day to have a great day.
Boom. Love it. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. And thank you for listening. Be sure to follow us on social media at DraftKings Life, except on LinkedIn, where we're just DraftKings. This podcast can be found on all major podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, Google. We got you. So download, listen, and throw us a 5-star rating. Also give us a 5-star rating on the DraftKings app because it's the best app in the world. Until next time, be safe, be kind, and take care.